I cannot believe that October is almost over, and with it means the start of November and the start of the Rough Draft Challenge, which means I have just a little over a week left to do Preptober stuff, which I haven't done a single thing, with the exception of buying some junk food. Hi, my name is Dawn Dalton. I am a freelance writer and an author, and the month of October has kind of slipped through my fingers, and I need to take a hold of what little is left of October, get a bunch of prep work done before we go into November and into the Rough Draft Challenge. Now, normally this would be the month in which I do the challenge that shall not be named, but I am going to be doing Sarah Cannon's Rough Draft Challenge. I'm trying to remember what level I picked. It's still the 50,000 word level. Let's talk about what my plans are for November, what I need to do to kind of see my way through Preptober, or what's left of Preptober, and just finish out this year strong. So first things first, the 50,000 words will be typed up from the first of my call signs books, which is the beginning of a brand new series. That is where I'm going to get the majority of my words for the month, because I already have it partially drafted, ready to go. Because I handwrite everything, I feel like that isn't cheating in the spirit of the challenge, because I am still missing huge chunks of the story. I will generally just leave myself notes if it's something I really don't know what I want to do with the scene, but I kind of have an idea of where the scene's supposed to go. In addition to that, I need to finish press start and get it published. I'm already a month behind from where I originally planned on being with this book, and so some of my words will also be from the edits that I just need to finish out from feedback from my beta readers. I will also be editing Roll of the Dice, which is book 3 of my House That Gaming Built series, which will be the book that will come out after press start. I did finish typing up most of Love in the Shadows, so that kind of clears the deck for me to start typing up the first of my call signs books. In addition to all of that, because we all know that I am a wicked overachiever when it comes to writing and coming up with plans to write, I am going to be rough drafting, idea iteration, plotting books 2 and 3 of the call sign series, as well as picking up the pieces, which should be the 4th and final book of the House That Gaming Built series. So with all of that said, what do I need to do to be ready for November? Well, I'm going to treat this sort of like a month-long writing retreat. So before the month starts, I would like to do a fairly deep clean of this, making sure that my writing chair is ready for me to sit and write in it, that my part of the table is cleaned up, that my desk is clean and organized, that I have all of the notebooks that I need, any pens that I need, which, I mean, they're already here because I almost exclusively work with Pilot G2 pens, and just sort of have all of that ready. I'm going to try to finish out the month of October by finishing this rough draft of the first call signs book. Luckily, I have been very good about keeping a series Bible for the characters, both in what their online character looks like as well as what they themselves look like. I also need to set up a few rewards for myself. Something I've gotten out of the habit of doing for November because the reward has always been finishing the book. But when I first started, man, it was every 5,000 words I had a reward of some sort. I'm probably not going to go that deep into it, but we're gonna see what I can pull out of my hat. I do have 2 crafting things going on, one before November starts and one the first Friday of November. It is also kind of a busy season for crafting, so I may pick up a few more shows, which will also impede my ability to write. But for tonight, because it is Tuesday night, I am going to sit and do a bunch of writing. And tomorrow, when I get home from work, we're gonna talk more about the setup for the month as far as cleaning, organizing, prepping, everything goes. So let's go. So this is really the only day off that I have this week that I can kind of settle in, get a bunch of stuff done without interruption, and I need to make the most of it. So, like I said earlier, my plan for November is to do the Rough Draft Challenge, and I also want to treat the month a little bit like a month-long retreat where I do schedule myself in plenty of time to write and get sort of caught up and ahead on my projects. So with that in mind, I want to do what I do with a lot of my writing retreats, and that is to make my space cozy, comfortable, all of the extra stuff that is in the back of my brain. I want to get it done and everything cleaned up, ready to go. What you're not fully seeing behind me is the absolute disaster area that is my crafting boxes. I have a show on Saturday and I brought everything in so that one of my friends could go through some of the jewelry, and I didn't clean it up last night before I went to bed. So today my plan is that I need to clean off my desk. Obviously, that's usually one of the first steps. I think I'm even going to include my little stand that sits on my desk that I just throw papers in so that I can deal with it later. And then I rarely deal with it later, so today is later. Because a lot of times I really want to use that when I'm doing a lot of typing or I have a lot of notes that I want to keep in my line of sight, and I can't do that if it's a complete and utter disaster area over there. I also obviously have to repack my craft stuff. I have a show on Saturday at the Science Center, so I need to repack that stuff. I also need to go through all of my Halloween stuff to make sure that I have enough stuff made for Saturday. I have a few pieces that I want to make before Saturday. It's Thursday, so we're kind of, my brain is running at 1,000 miles an hour and I'm freaking out a little bit. I also need to make my bed because my fitted sheet is off of it again because I have the oldest dog in the world, and sometimes she doesn't make it off of the bed before, yeah. I also need to fold my laundry. I started laundry late this week and promptly didn't fold any of it, which always bothers me that it's sitting there waiting to be folded, because I want it put away and so that I can just grab and go during the week, which is a big thing for being able to not have to worry about decision fatigue during the day. I need to run to the bank. I have a couple checks that need to go in. I also need to buy a new comforter for my bed. The quilt that I made years ago, with all of the extra washes that have happened recently, it has accelerated the disintegration of the quilt I made. Maybe one of these days I'll remake a quilt for the bed. I learned a lot from the process of making the last one, and with watching how it fell apart, I realized that I made quite a few mistakes in making it, especially in a quilt that size. California Kings need more stitches. That's really all that it boils down to, is California King size quilts need way more stitches. And I think if I make another quilt that big, I'm gonna take it somewhere to actually be quilted, because my little sewing machine isn't so great for it. I also need to put away all of the junk food and snacks and stuff that I've bought throughout this week for November, just so that I can get rid of all the bags, get everything cleaned up. I need to vacuum. The basement's disgusting and desperately needs a good solid vacuuming. I also have a spot in the rug that I need to actually clip some of the strings off of and melt back so that it stops pulling. And I need to pick out my notebooks that I'm going to be writing in for November for the idea iteration, super rough draft, first drafts of Picking Up the Pieces, and the second and third call signs books. So it's going to be a busy day. I think I'm going to start with getting dressed, and then I think making my bed so that I can do laundry and just sort of get everything started. So. So I didn't get everything done yesterday that I had put on my list of things to do. And I blame that on the fact that I always schedule myself more things than I really logistically have time to finish. So it always ends up that running errands takes longer than I think it will. But I did get a new comforter for the bed. I did go to the bank. I did a lot of the stuff that I had been planning on. I didn't get a chance to vacuum before everybody went to bed last night, so that is still on the to-do list. I'll probably do that this weekend around the craft show that I'm doing. One of the big things was that I needed to sit down and get a bunch of stuff done for the craft show, because it's a little bit of a last minute show. So I didn't have all of my Halloween stuff made, and this is a spooktacular, so I did need to get a bunch of Halloween stuff done. But now that that's all done, I do need to finish everything else, but I'm gonna end the vlog here. I did come up with a plan for November for how I wanted to do rewards. Normally I would buy myself a bunch of stuff at like the dollar store, or cheap stuff from Walmart, with like one or two really good big items to bribe myself into finishing. I didn't do that this time. Instead, I'm going to do something just slightly different. And for every 1,000 words I type this month, I'm going to give myself $1 towards a stationery shopping spree. I've been doing my Use It Up Year challenge for the last 2 years and haven't been buying nearly as much stuff. I still have been buying some stickers and washi tape and the odd notebook here and there, but not as much as I had been in the past. And I've really started to get through a decent amount of like partially used notebooks and just random stuff pretty much laying everywhere. And I want to, while I still want to continue to do using everything up that I already have, I would like to be able to pull some more interesting things in. So for every 1,000 words I type, I'm going to give myself $1. That means that if I only type 10,000 words, I get $10 to go buy crafting and stationery stuff. If I write 75,000 words, that means I have $75 to spend. In addition to that, every 10 pages I write will also be $1 because I do a lot of my drafting by hand. I do want to incentivize myself to be able to continue to do that during the month of November. And so it's going to take more pages to get $1 than it is words. I think that that is still a fairly good incentive for myself. And then if I publish press start, I will also get an additional $25 to spend for my reward. So that is what I'm going to be doing for my rewards. I should be tracking everything on the Rough Draft Challenge website that is still being set up by Sarah Cannon's husband. So I'll give you guys a rundown of how November goes. And yeah, so if you've been enjoying watching me try to get everything set up for a good solid writing month, be sure to feed the algorithm, boop that like button, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.